Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. We are continuing with the Gallery Blooms bundle, including the beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper today. The greeting and the die cut are from the Unbounded Love set. And I've used the dies with the Secret Sea cardstock from the Gallery Blooms set. And I've got the In Color Flat Pearls decorating this. And this is on a Secret Sea card base, so I've got a piece of basic white inside. I do not have the Secret Sea ink. The only ink I bought from the new set was the Strawberry Slush, but I found that the Misty Moonlight works really, really well with it. It looks a little lighter here, but when you've stamped it, it really doesn't show as being hugely different. It comes up just being that little bit brighter. So that's my go-to if I'm using the Secret Sea cardstock. So this is a Sunburst card, and I'm going to walk you through how to make the Sunburst. So we need a card base. And I've done a side opening landscape card base on this one because a tent fold, it might get a little heavy on the front. So this will stay open. So that's a card base in Secret Sea. I've got a 5 1/4 by 4 for the inside, and I've already stamped some flowers on it just to make it a little bit more interesting. And I've got a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of basic white. You can use any scrap paper you've got as long as it's 5 1/4 by 4. And this is where we're going to put our starburst. So to do the starburst, I took a 6 by 6 piece of paper and I cut it into 1 1/4 strips. So I'll just remake the paper here so you can see what it looked like. So I'm just going to put it together as close as I can. So the 6 by 6 paper would have looked like this. So you cut 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and you get left with a 1-inch strip, and that's the strip that's going across the center like that. I just cut it down to 5 1/4. So once you've got all of your 1 1/4 inch by 6 strips cut, you subcut them into triangles by cutting corner to corner. And that creates your starburst design. So I'm just going to move all of those out of the way. I used glue for this one. I used the Tombow white multi-purpose glue, and I got glue everywhere. It was a sticky mess. I actually had to wash my counters down and wash my hands. So the advantage of using glue is that you can wiggle it a little bit. You can wiggle to make sure everything's lined up. I'm going to use adhesive for this. I'm just going to run adhesive top, bottom, and middle like that. And I'm going to start with the middle, and I'm just going to put this as close to middle. You can measure it if you want. I'm not too worried about it. And then you just lay the next piece down right next to it, but right up next to it like that. And this one looks like it might be a little bit skewed. I'm not too worried about it. You just keep putting your pieces down. And what I'm doing is, I think you can see, is I'm just holding the tail end down while I place the rest down, just so that I know I'm getting that tight coverage. Okay. So we're just going to keep going here. Keep lining up and pressing into that adhesive. I'm going to start working on the other side now. Again, holding that tail down, lining up right next to that piece that it's next to there, and just lining that up, tucking it up really tight like that. Now, we've got a couple of pieces left over here, or the corners left. I'm just going to tuck that in like that. And when I've cut some of these ends off, I'll be able to fill this side in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just coming around with my scissors. I'm going to start over here because it's easiest. I'm just going to trim that off like that. And it's sticky because I use these scissors to cut the glued pieces. But we're we're just going to trim that right along the edge of that basic white piece or whatever scrap of cardstock you've used. Okay, let's just take that off, and then we're going to come across the bottom like this. Try not to cut into your cardstock. Okay, so we've got that, and now I need to fill in this corner. So I'm going to take the largest piece that I cut off, and I'm just going to tuck it on like this. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll do this instead. I'll take this piece here like this, and what I'm doing is I'm moving it to line it up so that the bottom is about the same size as the other pieces. And then I can just use one of the smaller pieces here, tuck that on like that. If you are absolutely in the middle, you won't have to fiddle with extra little bits on the edge. You'll just need to fiddle with one bit on the edge. Okay, so we're just going to trim that all off like that. And there we go. There is our card. You can see this triangle here is a little bigger than this triangle here. And that is simply because I wasn't exactly in the center when I did my setup. Again, a pencil mark down the center, you're going to cover it up anyway. So then this is the piece, the 1-inch piece that was left over that I cut down to 5 1/4 by 4, or sorry, 5 1/4. So we have options. We can put this down like this, or we can put it down like this. And I put these lighter side down when I did these, because then it really highlights the darker designer series paper. And I love how the roses kind of poke out on this one. So I'm just going to adhere this down like this. Just pop it down, make sure I'm straight. There we go. And then we've got it like that. I'm going to build the card. And then we can do the decorations on the front. So I'm just going to pop a couple of lines of adhesive on this. Pop it down on the inside. Again, this is a dark cardstock, so you need a light piece inside to write on. You can use a decorative rectangle die to cut it out. I just used a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of cardstock that I had. Okay, and we're just going to adhere this to the front of the card like this. I've done these as birthday cards, but they would be really suitable as a get well card or a sympathy card. So you can use it however you like. Okay, so I've got the happy birthday here, and this is stamped on cloud cover. It's on the cloud cover paper, which looks really gray until you get it up against something gray, and then it's very blue. So it's one of those really versatile colors. It's very changeable. So I'm just going to put some adhesive along on the corner there, and I'm going to take this leaf here, and I'm going to tuck it onto the back, and then I'm taking this one here, and these again are dies from the set. Tuck that one like that, and then I'm going to add adhesive. You can dimensionalize this if you want to. I chose to just flat mount it. I'm just going to pop this right down. I'm putting it so that we can actually see the detail of the dies, of the die cuts, and I'm laying that down so that this piece is in line here. Then I'm going to take this little leaf here, and I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on. You can use dots, you can use glue, and I'm just going to pop it down like that, just to kind of bring some interest, a bit of wider view. And then we're going to take our flat pearls, our in color flat pearls, and I'm going to use the Secret C ones, and I'm just going to pop a couple onto the greeting, and I'm going to use one to cover up that stem so it's not just kind of floating in space. And then I'm going to just put 3 more just to decorate some of the plain aspects of the card. So that is our Sunburst pattern card. Let me know if you prefer it with the brighter, like the Calypso corals and the petal pink in it, or if you prefer the more quiet one like this. So Thank you so much for watching, and let's create together again soon.